What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Nemo Propaganda here. Today we're going to do a three-way comparison between the Iota VX SA40, that's this one on the top, the Outlaw RR2160 Mark II that's in the middle, and the Emotiva TA2 that's at the very bottom. The purpose of this video is for anyone that either A, you're watching for entertainment, or B, you're in the market for an amplifier around $1,000, you want it to be full featured. You've seen these three, you know they got similar feature sets, all three have a good amount of power, and you're just not sure what the differences are. So I'm here to highlight that and maybe help guide you in one direction or another. So I hope you find this video helpful. By the way, if you're not subscribed, subscribe, leave a like if you like the video. The easiest way to support the channel, honestly though, is just to watch the video the whole way through. So I'd really appreciate it if you could do that. So let's start with the price. Emotiva TA2 is going to be $900. It's the most affordable one of the three. The Outlaw RR2160 Mark II is going to be $1,000 flat, so it's just another $100 more. And then the Iota VX SA40 is another $100 more, coming in at $1,100. All three of these amplifiers have remote controls, subwoofer outputs, tone controls, built-in DACs, digital inputs, analog outputs, and all kinds of features like that. So those are the features they have in common. All three of them have a lot of wattage. I don't want to talk too much about the wattage specs and how they're different because all three manufacturers rate their wattage a little bit differently, so you can't directly compare them. I'll show you what I mean. Outlaw gives you the wattage spec, wideband 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz, 8 ohms, and references distortion, THD. Outlaw also does the same thing for 4 ohms, 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz, 4 ohms, referencing THD. Emotiva, on the other hand, does a little bit more what a lot of brands do, which is their 8 ohms is 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz, referencing THD, but then 4 ohm, and this is super common, and this is why I really like Outlaw. I respect them for having the stones to give us that full wideband spec. Emotiva does what most companies do, which is their 4 ohm spec. Instead of being 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz, it's narrow band at 1 kilohertz only, and they do still reference THD. Iota VX, on the other hand, it seems like they forgot to give us that information entirely. Their website and manual do not reference frequency or distortion, which is a little bit frustrating. I wish they would have done that, but look, no complaints either way. Just know this, all three have large toroidal transformers and tons of wattage on tap, and all three were able to drive difficult speakers without any issues to very loud volumes. So don't worry about power here, guys. So let's talk about the unique features of each amplifier, and then we'll talk about the tonal differences about each amplifier. So let's talk about bass. The Outlaw RR2160 Mark II and the Emotiva TA2 both have onboard bass management, meaning you can low pass your subwoofer and high pass your mains, taking some of the strain of bass out of your mains if you wanted to do that. The Emotiva TA2 gives you a little bit more adjustment with that in terms of frequency. The Outlaw, it's a few different preset frequencies, but both have that option. The Iota VX SA40 does not have onboard bass management, but it has some of its own special features. For example, it's the only one of the three that accepts XLR inputs. It's also the only one of the three that has HDMI ARC input, which is fairly unique. You don't generally see that, and I know that's a feature a lot of people, they want to use. They want to be able to use their stereo in their TV room also when watching, TV shows and stuff like that. What are some other standout features? The Outlaw, listen, I couldn't believe I missed this when I reviewed the Outlaw. Outlaw's website says that the RR2160 Mark II has internet radio. Now, what do you guys think that means? Because I thought that meant you can listen to the radio through the internet. No, that's not what they mean. The Outlaw has a full-blown built-in streamer. Cell phone app and all. You don't need like a Bluesound Node with the Outlaw. You don't need a WIM. You don't need a Eversolo. Like, it has its own streamer built in. I couldn't believe I missed that. The app it uses is Outlaw's own app. It looks to be their version of the 4Stream app, which I'm very familiar with. It works very well. It's somewhat similar to Blue OS. It works flawlessly, guys. So I'd say that's a huge selling point because you could really save some money and not have to buy a streamer if you go with the Outlaw. The other two do not have built-in streamers. So that's something very unique about the Outlaw. What else? The Emotiva TA2 has a unique feature that the other two don't, where you can control your subwoofer's level or volume, if you will, from the remote control or front face of the amplifier. I thought that was super unique. I've actually never seen that on another amplifier, and I think it'd be cool if we saw that more often, but that was a unique thing too. Aside from that, look, all three amps, lots of features. I could probably talk for a long time if I was to list out all of them. Those are the main differences I wanted to tell you about. But I want to encourage you, if you're really in the market, hop on each company's website and see all the different features and fine grain details, because there's more than just what I mentioned. I just mentioned the ones that were the biggest standout and what I thought were the most important. So let's talk about the sound quality and tonal differences between the three amplifiers. I would argue that's probably the most important differences between these three amps. So as far as sound quality, all three overall sound quality are fairly similar. What's different is the tonal characteristics. So let's start with the Emotiva TA2 all the way at the bottom. I guess one other standout feature about the Emotiva TA2 is its form factor. It's fairly short in terms of its height, and it has a unique look. It's very sleek. I like that. But the Emotiva TA2 treble is going to be on the forward side of neutral. It's going to be more on the detail-focused side of things in terms of its presentation. Some people may describe that as like analytical. If you're the type of customer that likes detail and clarity, those are like the two most important things to you. You're going to love the Emotiva. Its presentation overall is essentially all about detail and clarity. Moving down in the mid-range, that's no different. Mid-range leans a little bit on the cool side of things. So again, you're going to have good mid-range detail and clarity. Moving down to the bass, fairly linear. All three amplifiers have very linear bass. And so I'm not really going to talk about bass with these amps. So that's the difference. Essentially, the Emotiva is anyone that wants like clean and clear output. That's what it does, right? The Outlaw RR2160 Mark II is kind of similar, but it's going to be more neutral than the Emotiva. From top to bottom, the Outlaw RR2160 is about clean, honest output. It's not here to color the sound in one direction or another. It's not going to be on the forward side of neutral. It's not going to lean dark. It's not going to be cool in the mid-range. It's not going to be warm and juicy. The Outlaw RR2160 Mark II is very, very neutral tonally, and it's not going to color the sound in one way or the other. The only way you're going to color the sound using an Outlaw RR2160 Mark II is by adding a DAC to it or your speaker choice. The amp is like signal in, signal out, good, clean, honest power. That's what it does in terms of its tonal characteristics. The Iota VX SA40 is going to be a little bit different again. So again, Emotiva, mostly an analytical or detail-focused presentation. Outlaw, mostly neutral affair from top to bottom. Iota VX SA40, more on the warm side of things. The treble is slightly soft with its attack, ever so slightly smooth. The mid-range is a little bit warm, a little bit organically richer than the other two. And the way it images with its precision and soundstage depth, width, and height, it's a little bit more holographic than the other two as well. So those are the tonal differences, guys. I think I've already told you this. I may have not. I've done a few takes here. All three have remote controls. Obviously, I like all three of the remote controls, but they are very different. The Outlaw gives you a backlit remote that's fairly large. The Iota VX SA40 gives you a medium-sized remote that I think is the perfect size. Emotiva gives you a remote control that's a little bit smaller and sleeker. All three get the job done, guys. So I think that's the video. That's the video, guys. Those are the differences. If there's something else you want to know, you're welcome to ask in my free Discord. The link is in the description of all my videos. You're also welcome to ask in the YouTube comments section. Please make sure to provide context, like, if you want to ask me, like, say you're like, hey, I like what you said about like the Iota VX SA40. I'm just not sure it's going to be enough power for my room. Maybe tell me how big your room is if that's your concern, right? Or if you're like, hey, I want the Emotiva TA2, but I can't think of another example. That was good enough. So before I wrap up the video, I just want to say thank you if you watched the whole video. That does mean a lot to me. Very few people watch the whole video, so special thank you. You're a champion if you stayed to the end, and I personally appreciate you. Some of you might wonder, do I have a favorite between the three? Not really. All three are really good, and I'm so happy to see this level of sound quality at this price point available in three different options. I was able to find some awesome pairings for each one of these that I'm going to mention. The Iota VX SA40 seemed to have a ton of synergy with the Totem Bison. Just wanted to mention that. The Emotiva TA2 had a ton of synergy with the Bucart S400 Mark II. And the Outlaw RR2160 was a little bit different. It was more of a jack of all trades. It didn't seem to matter what speaker I connected to it. It just always sounded great, right? So look, at this point, I'm probably just rambling a little bit. So let's wrap up the video. Thank you for tuning in. Again, if you've got any questions, feel free to ask in the comments section below. But just friendly reminder, I'm sorry, guys, I don't use phono. Please don't ask me about the phono. Yes, I tried all 3 internal DACs. The reason I didn't really talk about the internal DACs, the sound quality is more similar than different. And I believe I've already highlighted the tonal differences. So until next time, take care.